Let me show you something that sounds impressive but is actually misleading. A company runs an experiment and reports we found a statistically significant improvement. Sounds great, right? But here's what they don't tell you. The improvement was just 0.1%. Now think about that for a second. Would that change your decision? Would you invest money, time, or resources into something that barely moves the needle? Probably not. And yet, this is exactly how most people interpret data. They focus on the fact that something changed, but ignore how much it changed. Let me make this even more real. Imagine two fitness programs. Program A helps you lose 10 kg. Program B helps you lose 0.5 kg. Now imagine both are labeled statistically significant. Would you treat them the same? Of course not. And that brings us to the most underrated concept in statistics, effect size. This is the difference between data that looks impressive and data that actually matters. Welcome back to Sheetal's Data Desk. I'm Sheetal, and in this video I'm going to discuss core idea of effect size, why effect size matters, types of effect size, real world examples, small versus large effects, common mistakes, effect size plus uncertainty, and analyst mindset. By the end of this video, you will have powerful skill. You will be able to look at any result and instantly ask, does this actually matter? So, let's break this down in simplest way possible. Effect size tells you how big the difference is. That's it. No complicated formulas needed. Just one question. How much did things change? Let's use real life analogy. Imagine you get salary increase. Scenario 1, from 30,000 pound to 30,200 pound. Scenario 2, from 30,000 pound to 35,000 pound. Both are increases. But do they feel the same? Not even close. That difference in magnitude is exactly what effect size captures. Here's the key idea. Effect size is about magnitude, impact, real world importance, not probability. Now, here's where things get interesting. You might be thinking, why does this even matter? Why not just check if something changed? Because in real world, we don't make decisions based on change. We make decisions based on impact. A tiny improvement might look good in report, but it will not increase revenue. It will not improve user experience, and it will not justify cost of implementation. Effect size is what connects data to real world decisions. Without it, you are not really analyzing data. You are just observing it. And once you understand this, you start seeing data very differently. So now that you know why effect size matters, let's look at the different ways it shows up. Now let's quickly understand different types of effect size. There are different ways to measure it depending on situation. Don't worry, we will keep it simple. First, absolute difference. This is just the raw change. 10% to 12% means 2% increase. Simple, direct, easy to understand. Second, relative change. Now we look at change relative to starting point. 10% to 12% equals to 20% increase. Same data, different story. This is why sometimes numbers can be misleading if you don't look carefully. Third, standardized effect. Sometimes we remove units to compare across different studies. This gives us values like small effect, medium effect, large effect. You don't need formulas right now. Just remember, it helps compare apples to apples. Fourth, relationship based. Effect size is not just about differences, it can also measure relationships. Example, study time versus exam score. Stronger relationship means bigger effect size. Now, let's bring this into real world situations. Because effect size only makes sense when you connect it to decisions. Example 1, you run an online store. Conversion rate goes from 10% to 10.2%. That's a 0.2% increase. Now ask yourself, is that meaningful? If you have millions of users, maybe yes. If not, probably not worth acting on. Example 2. Now imagine two marketing campaigns. Campaign A increases clicks by 1%. Campaign B increases clicks by 15%. Both are improvements, but only one actually changes your business. Example 3. Now let's say you have an investment strategy. Returns go from 5% to 5.1%. Sounds good. But after fees, inflation, taxes, that improvement disappears. Here's the line I want you to remember: data does not create value, decisions do, and decisions depend on effect size. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They treat all improvements same, but not all effects are equal. Small effect, such as conversion rate, changes from 10% to 10.1%. Users barely notice it. Business impact minimal. Medium effect, noticeable improvement, might justify action. Large effect, clear visible impact, strong signal for decision making. So, real question is never is it positive. Real question is this effect big enough to matter? Let's quickly fix few common mistakes most people make. Mistake 1: celebrating tiny improvements. People see increase and get excited, even if it is meaningless. Mistake 2: ignoring context. A 2% increase might be huge in some industries and useless in others. Context defines importance. Mistake 3: not connecting data to real outcomes. If you cannot translate your result into money, users, time, it is not useful aid. Mistake 4: treating all effects equally. Treating all positive results equally, but not every positive result deserves action. One final layer that makes you think like a pro: uncertainty, because an effect size alone is not enough. Example: let's say your effect size is 10, but range could be 2 to 18. That's a wide range, not very reliable. Now compare that to range 9 to 11. That is much tighter, much more confidence. So always think, how big is it and how sure am I? Here's the mindset shift that separates beginners from real analysts. Beginners ask, did something change? Real analysts ask, did it change enough to matter? And here's the line you can actually use: yes, there is an improvement, but the effect size is small, so the practical impact is limited. That one sentence instantly shows you understand data deeply. Let's bring it all together. Effect size tells you how much something matters. It connects data to real world decisions. And here's the most important idea from this entire video: a result without effect size is incomplete. So, next time you see data, don't stop at something has changed. Ask, how big is the change? Does it actually matter? Because that's the difference between someone who reads data and someone who understands it. In next video, we will connect this to p-values and you will see why something can be statistically significant and still completely useless. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Shital's Data Desk. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next